Hi there, it's Monica. Just finished putting the kids down for a nap and thought I'd take some time to talk about something with insanity. Um, so I've been doing a lot of these videos with my husband, who is also a coach, but for this video in particular, he doesn't really have to be in it because I'm going to talk to you about how insanity helped me have a 6-hour labor and a 1.5-hour labor respectively. So I'm just going to back up and kind of explain a little bit about my past. I've always been active. I've always liked working out at the gym and lifting weights. My father was a former weightlifter, so he gave me a lot of tips on that, so I think that's where I got that from. So I've always been active, and when I got pregnant with my first child, I continued to stay active. I worked out at least 5 days a week, and I was also doing research on natural childbirth because I had decided that I really wanted to do that. I wanted to do what was best for my baby, and so I looked into hypnobirthing, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. I want to talk more about how doing insanity kind of helped me get into the mindset that I needed to deliver. So, I mean, with a workout like insanity, for those of you that have done it, it's very intense. You go as hard as you can for as long as you can, and then you take a short break, and then you jump right back into it. A lot of the times when I was doing it, and I first started doing it back in 2008, I think is when I started doing it. And I'm sorry, not 2008, 2010 when it first came out, I believe that was the year. I was scared, and I had never done anything that intense. I couldn't even get through the warm-up. It was tough. The warm-up to me was like a regular workout that I've done in the past. So it was all new to me. After the workout or warm-up was done, you jump into the actual workout, and most of the moves lasted for about a minute, and then you take like a 30-second break, and then you go right back into it. And I remember every time I would do a workout, once we started getting into the set of moves for the minute, I would always tell myself, come on, it's just a minute, right? I mean, a minute goes by just like that. So I kind of would push myself and say, come on, if you can do this for a minute, you can do anything for a minute. And then by the time we got to the 30-second breaks, it was just such a relief. I really enjoyed every single bit of the 30 seconds, so I could get right back into it and push myself again. So you have to have a really strong mindset when you're doing a workout like that. You have to keep telling your mind, you can do it. It's a battle between your mind and your body, right? So I did that, and I did the whole 60 days, and the only reason I didn't get the results is because my diet still wasn't there, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. Anyway, moving on to when I was getting ready to give birth to my son. So my doctor, she said, on average, first time delivery can last anywhere from 12 hours to 24 plus hours. I said, whoa, okay, that's kind of scary, right? And for some crazy reason, I always told myself, you know what? I think I'm going to go for like 6 hours. Like, that's going to be my goal, right? I'm going to have a 6-hour birth. And I was telling my doctor, you know, I really want to try and do it naturally. And she kind of just looked at me and was like, yeah, I've heard that before. Lots of women have said that, and they can't take the pain and they end up getting the shot. I was like, well, okay, we'll see how it goes. I won't be opposed to it if I need it. But what I found was once I did go into labor, my water broke on its own. And a lot of that had to do with the hypnobirthing as well, but I'm not going to talk about that. Once the contractions started to kick in, you know, for any women out there that have given birth, I mean, a contraction just feels like you're gonna die, right? But for me, I kind of started thinking about the insanity workouts for some reason. Like, wait a second, I've kind of been through a somewhat challenge like this. I mean, a contraction in the early stages can last 60 seconds, a minute. Where else has that happened in my life? Where I had to push my body to where I didn't think I could go, and my mind had to win the fight. And I just thought, well, insanity. You know, if I can get past this minute contraction, I get a break, right? I get to rest, and I'm going to take it contraction by contraction. And that's pretty much what happened. You know, I really cherished the breaks in between each contraction. So what ended up happening was my labor went incredibly fast. When we first checked into the hospital, 5.5, 6 hours later, my son was born, and I was able to do it all natural. I didn't need the shot or anything, and it's because I just took it contraction by contraction. So I really have insanity to thank for that, because you kind of have the same mindset when you're doing a workout like that to when you're giving birth. And I don't know if that's going to make a whole lot of sense to people, but to me it will. And then moving forward a few more months later, my children are 18 months apart, so I got pregnant again with my daughter, and this time around, they always say the second birth goes by a lot faster. I'm like, well, whoa. The first one was 6 hours. I mean, am I even going to make it into the hospital? Am I going to be those women that give birth on the side of the road because they didn't make it? So already I was anticipating that this delivery, the second delivery, was going to go faster, and I was right. Sure enough, it only lasted an hour and a half, so thank God. It was tougher this time around. Contractions were a lot stronger, which usually happens with second, third, fourth children, right? It's kind of like muscle memory. Your uterus has already contracted in the past. It knows what to do, so it's a lot more effective between each contraction. So once again, that labor was all natural. I didn't get the shot. I was this close to getting it. I had already told the nurse, I want the epidural. I want the epidural. I can't stand it anymore. But it turns out I didn't even have time. My water broke, and within like 10 minutes, maybe even less than that, I had already started to push, and with 2 or 3 good pushes, my daughter was out. So insanity, it can work wonders if you're willing to try and you're willing to push yourself. It can help change your life in more ways than one, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave any comments. I'll post my website so that you can send me a message or just check out my story, and I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.